What's up, kids? Let's talk content creation. So, we've been going through a bit of a series, our process of building a high ticket mastermind or group coaching program. So, a lot of you have a done for you agency, or you're already an expert doing this one on one consulting coaching thing, right? We've all gone through those phases. That's pretty common, by the way. So, a lot of us start out as a done for you service agency of some sort. We're helping someone market, tell their story, copywriting, helping them be a better stage speaker, whatever it is that you help them with. And then we start consulting, right? People start asking us as much for, hey, can you do this for me? And they want to lean in on your expertise. Hey, can you help me do it? As we do it together. Yes. Okay. Then a lot of us, what's up? So great to see y'all. Then a lot of us jump in here and we start figuring out how to be more efficient with that, because eventually your one-on-one consulting and done for you agency work will drain the life out of you, particularly the one-on-one consulting. So in my digital agency, I'm sure in many of yours, it's pretty efficient, right? You can teach other people how to do what you do. You can delegate and systemize a lot of the done for you services. The one-on-one consulting, though, gets a little more complicated because it's hard to delegate that out. It's hard to actually just hand off you because someone wants to meet with you one-on-one, right? So moving to this group coaching or mastermind model is really where it's at. That is why we're talking about this today. I've moved my advisory services, so to speak, to a group only model because it's more efficient. And as we talked about in other sessions, it's way more transformational for people who are in those groups. We're people. We learn and react and do better in communities. Okay. So if you go back to previous conversations, you'll see all about how to define who your market's going to be, how to help them with a certain offer or transformation, how to make that offer, how to create the right sales process, how to attract people to your sphere of influence. We've talked about that in previous weeks. Today, we're going to talk through how to actually work on the content that you're going to build. Now, this model is the model I use for building my group coaching content, my mastermind content. It's also the model I use for doing a lot of these lives or recorded versions or webinars or when I speak on someone else's stage. Doing content isn't that difficult. It just needs to follow a super simple pattern. As always, ask questions as we dive through this, and I'll make sure that I answer them live right here. In fact, I'm going to pull up my phone right here so I can see the comments coming up, because you guys can totally do this. So let's just crack the code for this for you today and make sure. Oh, hang on. Sorry. There we go. Let's just make sure I'm playing my own audio out loud. Sam, what's up, dude? Awesome to see you. Let's just make sure that we're putting the right content together. All right. So ask questions as we go. This is a 3x3 zone. That's what I call it. 3x3 zone content creation model. Okay. I think in threes. I've read a lot and studied a lot about how to communicate and how to make your content, my content, stick and make it attainable. And thinking in threes is really helpful for this. Okay. So let me just walk you through what that means. When I think in threes, I'm really thinking of three different sections I can put content into. Okay, again, this works if you're building that group coaching process and you're trying to figure out, what do I teach in my group? Or if you're doing one-on-ones, or if you're just doing content creation like we are right here on screen, this process works. Here's what the 3x3 method really comes down to. It comes down to simplifying your expertise. And I know you're 10 years in, 2 years in, whatever, you know a lot. That's the cool thing about this, though. That's why people are attracted to you. You know a lot. So you got to simplify that down, though, into baby steps, into like a second grade language set, into very simple processes. But before you dial that back into all the little minutia that you could get into, just dial it back into three major zones, okay? So if you're going to take somebody, think about this way, from where you were several years ago when you were starting the process that you've transformed through to where you are now, think through the three big zones, okay? So let's just break this down to zones. Let's think zone 1x3, the beginning, zone 2x3, the middle, and zone 3x3, the end. I'm going to break down what that 1x3, 2x3, 3x3 means. It's easier than you think. Let's talk about the beginning first, okay? Where were you at the beginning? What information did you need? Or what information do you think your followers, the people who are in your community, need first to really get transformation done? Okay, so let's just talk. Let's talk marketing. Let's say you're a marketing expert and you're teaching people about marketing. People need to know the basics of marketing before they actually start marketing, right? You don't start with, hey, let's build a website or let's launch Facebook ads or let's build a, profile on XYZ social media. You have to start with marketing by teaching them to understand their audience, right? Who are they going to help with what kind of a problem solve solution, right? That's typically the beginning of a marketing conversation. If you're teaching somebody how to do that, that would be zone one. All right. So zone one would simply be, okay, we got to get your brain wrapped around who you're going to help because everything else follows that. You got to know who you're talking to and what their problem is and what solution you're offering before you should even start building a website or a Facebook group or whatever, right? That's zone one. So break your content down, break your expertise down into three main progressive zones. Okay. Keeping that super, super simple. So zone one is kind of the foundational pieces that people have to have, they have to understand before they can move to the next step, which is actually doing some work, right? Zone two, that middle, and don't worry, I'm going to come back and readdress the times three. You see, each of these zones has 1, 2, and 3, and then we have an X3. So zone one had a 1 times 3, zone two has a 2 times 3, zone three has a 3 times 3. I'll come back to that in a second. All right, we're just talking about these three zones of content creation method. Zone two is the middle. All right, so you've given them zone one, right? Just again, loosely speaking, what's the main zone that you got to go through zone one to actually start taking action? What's the foundation has to be there before you can do anything? Zone two, that middle section, is a lot of work, okay? That's where you're really introducing a lot of the content that has to be covered and a lot of the homework that has to be done. We got to do this, we got to build this, we got to conquer this idea, we have to do this copywriting, this graphic design, this editing, this whatever it is that you teach as an expert, right? In your group or one-on-one or even in your social media post. That's the real meat of it, that middle section, okay? So what's that middle section? Once you get the foundation zone one laid down, once they have a basic understanding of the problem set, then you can build on that, right? Zone two is the main building. It's like you're laying the foundation of a building first in zone one, giving them the intellectual and a little bit of the aha moments to let them say, oh, okay, I understand philosophically how we're going to start approaching these problems. Zone two is, okay, we're like putting up walls, we're putting up windows, we're like getting things done. This building is getting some shape and some form. It's a lot of work, okay? And then zone three, again, I'm going to come back and fill in a lot of gaps here, don't worry. Zone three is finishing touches. It's okay. Now you've got the foundation, you get the philosophy, you've done an enormous amount of work. Now let's get this thing really, really shiny and ready to go. Let's get the paint on there. Let's get the carpet down, the hardwood. Let's get pictures on the wall. We're like finishing out this space. Okay, so zone 1, 2, and 3. Let me go back over that one more time. Zone 1 is that beginning set. When I think through content that I'm going to help my group or mastermind participants through, I think this through in zones. Zone 1, for a week or 2, 3 weeks, whatever, I got to get people into the main philosophy, just understanding really not what they thought the problem was, but what the problem really is, to make sure that they actually get real traction and they can do something with all the real work we're going to get done in zone 2. Zone 2 is where we're getting to the real meat of the problem, okay? Right now, for instance, in this conversation that we're having right now, this would be zone 2. Zone 1 was several minutes ago, me laying out hey, if you're an expert, if you've done for you work or one-on-one work, moving to a group model is more efficient for you and the people you're teaching. That's kind of zone 1 conversation. Zone 2 conversation is this right here. I'm getting to the meat of it, right? It's a little more complicated. We're talking about, okay, now I got to build this content and I got to separate it into 3 zones, Chris. That's complicated. And zone 1 is kind of that early stage, just ethereal concepts. And then zone 2 is that stuff that's right in the middle. We're really getting the work done. This is that part. We're talking through what's the real meat of this, right? And zone 3, when you're taking people through a process, teaching them in a group setting or in your social media platforms or wherever you teach this, zone 3 is helping them make the finishing touches. Really, okay, I've got the concepts. I've done a lot of work. How do I launch this thing forward? That's zone 3. All right. Now, the reason I've put in all of this my 3x3 zone content creation method is because I think in threes. Okay, a lot of research around thinking in threes. All right, you got to have three main steps, and each of those main steps or zones can have three sub points or action points to that. So in my content, I'm frequently looking for three main zones I can take people through. And then I'm also looking for a way to break the content itself in that zone into three subsets. Because when you're in, let's say, the beginning zone, the first zone you take people through, how about the concepts? You're not going to only have one concept to talk about, right? Most things we solve for people are just a little more complicated than that. So I'm looking for three main areas that I can tackle in the beginning stage to help them get traction. And then in the middle stage, that do the hard work stage, right? I'm looking for three main things that I can help someone tackle while they're in that hard work stage zone. And then the end, three things we can do to really put the finishing touches on whatever they're building and walking people through. This is the 3x3 zone method. The reason I'm doing this is now I've got 9 things. We're able to accomplish 9 significant projects together, right? Early stage projects, that middle hard work projects that could be a little bigger, and the finishing touches that go on there in the ending project set. But I got to do 9 things. But if you take somebody through a 9-step process, they often get lost. They get discouraged. It gets complicated. Keeping things in zones helps all of us relate to the problem set that's in front of us. I can look at this one zone. You've broken this enormous process down for me into 3 big steps. Okay, I got it. I can get my head around one step. And now there's 2 or 3 things to do inside that space. Okay, I can have a checklist of 3 things to do. Even if each checklist point takes a week to do, I'm not getting overwhelmed. If I see all 9, 12, 15, 27 steps, whatever, going out into infinity, I start to get a little discouraged and usually overwhelmed. The homework falls off for a couple of weeks that people are doing, and then all of a sudden they stop getting results. So they get behind their homework and they feel like they're not going to get there. They don't want to show up in the group because they feel embarrassed. Anything that's overwhelming slows us down. And once we get behind, we think we can't catch up. Keeping things in zones gives people that mindset shift to make them realize, oh, all I got to do is stay in this one spot and work on this one thing right now in front of me. That's really, really important. Michael, what's up, man? Yes, good stuff. Let me read this comment real quick, Michael. Anybody's got any questions, feel free to fire away, as always. Michael, yes, good stuff. I first heard this concept of threes in a teaching from Tony Robbins. Oh, cool. Probably 15 years ago, and started implementing it over the years. Yeah, right? Such good stuff. This is not a new concept. Obviously, it wasn't new when Tony Robbins was teaching it. I never heard him teach about it. I should probably pay more attention to Tony Robbins. Every time I hear him speak, I'm always like freaking blown away. What a great communicator. I just don't simply watch a lot of people speak. I probably should. This breakdown of zones is fire. 3, look at that, 3 fire marks. Love that. So yeah, this has been around a long, long, long time. If you look back, one thing I read a book, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago, long time ago, about like ancient leaders, like meaning several thousand years ago, leaders who used to lead like huge, barbaric people groups, how they did their leadership roles, not just ruling by fear or being barbarians or whatever, but some of those great leaders and teachers use these same concepts, like just watching how people communicate. Great communicators dial things way down. If you look at the US presidents over the past 50 to 100 years, I think even farther back than that's just harder to see it. The communication styles they had are like at a, 2nd to 4th grade education level. Like you gotta dial it back. We gotta keep it simple because people can take action on simple messages. And leaders that win, leaders that get real transformation, a vote for themselves or seeing their people group transform or move through processes, are leaders who can dial back complicated processes into very simple steps. So yeah, Michael, way to go, man. Glad you're using this process. It's so relevant, right? So there's our 3 zones. Here's the way I use these. If you go back and if y'all just watch through my content, All right. It's so boring. Chris Flicks, yay. Go back and if you watch through my content or if you look at the content that comes up later this week or next week or whenever, you'll notice that I frequently use 1, 2, or 3 zones in my communication. And if I'm not putting the tips on screen, like for instance, like right here, where I would mention a zone and then show another zone and intentionally walking you through 3 zones, if I'm not doing that, you'll hear me talk through, oh, there was this, then there was this, then there was this. You'll see this 3-step process a lot. That's not by chance. It's extremely intentional. And it's not even something that I do and spend a lot of time, let's say, if I spend a lot of time trying to, write syllabuses out and get slides ready or processes ready for my conversations with you, I really don't spend that much prep time doing this. The one thing I'm super intentional about is finding the questions that you guys ask as a community and making sure that I answer them in a way that's very simple. Because I've run a lot of, let's just use masterminds. I run this group coaching experiment right now, right? In this conversation. I've run a lot of groups. I've done a lot of masterminds. We have a lot of high ticket mastermind programs we put together and run. That's my thing. Okay. I also love running digital agencies, building teams and systems and delegating all that. That's my thing. Those are my passions. That's what I'm good at. All right. I'm not good at a lot of things. Those are things I'm good at. So it's super easy for me, and I'm sure it is for you and your expertise, whatever that is, to totally geek out and get into all kinds of nuances, things that we could do that could help you, right? But you don't need to hear about all the little details at this stage. You're just trying to crack the code to get started. And that's really, really important. So it's important for you when you're speaking to your group, if it's in a social media post or if it's written, if it's video, if it's actual group leadership and you're teaching in your mastermind or your group program or whatever, or you're leading your team on a weekly team meeting on a Zoom call and they're your team members, breaking it down into simple 1, 2, or 3 steps is really great. Even, I'll take this even farther, even in our quarterly goals, the goals that we have that we run on a quarterly basis, we do have all of our internal agency planning on a 90-day cycle. Every 90 days, we review what happened the previous 90 days, and we look forward to the next 90 days. We don't think years, we think in quarters, okay? We don't have 2021 goals. We don't have 2022 goals. We just simply have this quarter goal. So even in that, we narrow our quarterly goals down to 3 things that my team and I are going to accomplish. 3, sometimes 2, never 4. Always 1, 2, or 3 things we're going to accomplish. And then inside those 1, 2, or 3 things we're going to accomplish, there can be 1, 2, or 3 subpoints under each one to accomplish that bigger goal. That's it. We stay in 3s. It just works. We're humans. We're not that complicated, folks. We really aren't. I wish we were. We're not that complicated. We think pretty simple thoughts and we need things broken down. Your audiences do too. Let's see. Yvonne, let's say, oh, it's great to see you, by the way. I appreciate this, Chris, because my clients have told me that they often feel like they're drinking from a fire hose, right? Yeah, I know, right? I'm trying to simplify. Yeah, Yvonne, a simple way to do this is, that's really great. I excuse me, I completely understand. You want me to show you one example of this, Yvonne. This might be helpful. If I can pull my screen up here. I'm going to show y'all an example of zones that I use. Let's see if I can get this in presentation mode without completely losing track of the live here. I think I can do that. So this is a slide that I'll pull up right here. If I can share my screen, there we go. Share screen, and yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm going to share StreamYard, and then I'm going to slide over and see if we can get this on here. Okay, this screen right here, this is our 8-week mastermind launch program. All right, this is how we teach people how to build high-ticket masterminds. This screen is a great example of this, though. Excuse me. This screen is 3 zones. You can see that even in my mastermind training program, I even teach in 3 zones. That first zone right there, the teal green color, is marketing and sales, because we got to have sales, right, to actually make anything work. If it's a done-for-you service, coaching program, one-on-one group, whatever you're doing, sales and marketing is a big piece. That's a simplified process, right? So we get into great detail in the mastermind around that, but you can see that it's a zone that we talk about. It's a first zone. It's a beginning before you can get into content creation and going live, right? The past several weeks in these conversations, we've been talking about laying the solid foundations, marketing attraction, offer creation, and membership sales. We talked about that the past several weeks. Same thing now, or I'm actually talking about content creation with you guys right now. It's the second zone of having an effective group training and high ticket program of your own. That third section out there, the orange section, that's selling and reselling, upselling, reselling. It's what you do with the content, making e-courses, all kind of cool things like that, right? That's the 3-zone process for having a high ticket mastermind. I'm just using that as an example so you guys can see like how I use zones. In our mastermind, we teach more high-end agency concepts like delegation and team building, and actually the stuff that I use to actually free myself from the business. We teach that in zones as well. We teach it in 3 specific zones. These zones really do work. And that's the important part, is making sure that your zones are dialed in. I'm going to stop sharing real quick, come back over here. So yeah, Yvonne, great point there. One more thing here. I'm wrapping up a 4-week training and know I can expect that program. I know I can expand that program much longer. Yeah, if it's okay, cool. Yeah. Yvonne, that's a great point. If you're doing a 4-week training program right now and you have a lot of content to go through, you could make a 4-week training program into an 8-week or a 12-week, 9-week, 12-week. I like 9s and 12s because you can kind of go in zones. Week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I love that system because it allows you to kind of break that into a very sequenced pattern. So good work. You can take that longer. Yvonne, I'm sure, I don't know what you're charging right now, but I know you're a cool person, so I would love to talk pricing with you at some point because you could probably be doing really great work there, seeing so much transformation. And for most of us, you can be charging more than you currently are if you're really bringing a valuable transformation to your audience. And we could talk through that. Yeah. So Kevin, what's up, Kevin? Good to see you, man. Excellent. You articulated almost the exact process I use for my business, but started it very well and clearly. Cool. Well done. Yeah, man. Kevin, you bet. Thanks for that nice comment. That's really kind. Thank you, Chris. Very helpful. Yep, you bet. So you guys got this. Ultimately, this 3-step process, 3 by 3, just to throw up that banner again, this 3 by 3 process, think 3 zones, and then inside each zone, some sort of beginning, middle, and end zone. Think 3 subsets inside each zone. So in zone 1, the beginning set, the foundations you lay for people, show them how to get that mindset, that thing understood they need to understand, even if it's a done for you service. Let's say it's a done for you service and you're doing all the work for them. You're like, Chris, 3 zones, really? Yeah. Our done for you clients, our average done for you client, guys, is $126,000 on an annual sale. We sell a $126,000 done for you marketing package to the market we work with. Okay. That's a big sale, right? We love doing our work, but with each of those sales, even though obviously we're doing all of the work for our clients at that level, I still take them through. My team, Kimberly does this now, takes them through a very foundational step 1 beginning process because they got to understand what we're doing. They got to buy into this whole thing. They got their part to do, which is a lot of mindset and believing that we're going the right direction. But that process works. And the middle section is us updating them on a regular basis and showing them, here's 3 main things we're conquering for you, and here's how it's going. That's the middle section, even in a done for you, not just a consulting or group coaching program. It works in the done for you space too. And the end is our next steps. Where are we going next? How long are you going to be with us? Are we going to keep moving this ball forward for you, or do you want to stop here? That's kind of our end process. And they keep going with us, which is super great. The point is, we're doing it again, 3 sets with 3 subsets as needed. Keeping it simple, folks, right? So important to keep it simple. You guys are awesome. You got this. If you're doing done for you work, if you're working on a one-on-one consulting or coaching model, or if you're getting into that group, or if you already have groups and you're just crushing it and you want your pricing to go up, you want your transformations to go better, all that, obviously lean into our team. We got plenty of people on our team who coach into this group all the time. You can lean in, we'll set up a call with you. It's not a big deal. The thing is, though, make sure that wherever you are in the process, you're simplifying it. Your expertise and your knowledge base is so needed and people want it. It's really just a matter of connecting you to them, getting them into a group process so they can lean in on you as the expert. And then the group that you put together is magic because there are other experts in there like themselves. There's other people in there like themselves who want to grow. There's other people in there who've paid the right price that's valuable to you and to them, and they're willing to take action. It's such a cool process, and you can do that. Blew me away when I started doing that, and I didn't think I could. And all of a sudden, people started telling me, Chris, just try it. And it works. You guys got this. Okay, kids, have a fantastic rest of your day. Get out there and crush it. Do this work. Stop, sit down, and think through. What am I teaching? What am I doing? How's my process done for you one-on-one or group? What's my process like? And how can I break that into 3 main zones that make sense to other people who are brand new in the space? Not other experts, but people who are scratching their heads, trying to figure out what you know and how you do what you do. How can you break that into 3 simple zones so they get conceptually how it works? Then you can dive deep into each zone as needed. All right, kids, y'all have an awesome day. Do work, get results. We will talk very, very soon.